Okay, I guess we'll get started. And are we recording? There we go. Note spots up. All right. So it's all hands. We have a lot to share, a lot of cool stuff to share, a lot of awesome stuff just kind of happening all together with Roll2Heal. A little bit of growth, but growth as far as like organizational growth, which is awesome. So like that's coming together. And the podcast that's running. We have I almost forgot to put that. We have some new training that's coming together. That's really awesome. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we have an official sponsor for something big that we'll talk about today as well. Um, so I guess to get it kicked off, as of February 11th, so what, 6 days ago, our organization is officially a year old from the date that we actually filed the paperwork. Um, we probably launched really business wise in end of March, beginning of April, but everything started February 11th. That's when we got the actual official paperwork. So 1 year in, yeah, I think I agree. I think we have accomplished a lot. I mean, I know it felt like we weren't moving fast enough at times just because we were stuck, on certain things, or we couldn't get things done because we were waiting for something else. And like there's a couple, definitely some frustrating moments as we were going through the latter half of the year, trying to get things done. Uh, but to add to that 1 year, as of January 13th of 2026, we are now an official 501c3. So we received our decision letter, and that decision letter backdates all the way back to our creation day, so all the way back to February 11th. So we will be looking into how we want to look at that, as well as far as people that have donated previously and so forth, that we can get receipts out, because you can actually update some of that as well in your own taxes. I think you have like 3 years or something to do that if you want. But so we'll work on getting some of that out. But now, yeah, I mean, everything is really officially starting to happen and take off. We've already seen a ton of stuff in the past, week and a half, something like that. So it's just been crazy. So we got a bunch of stuff accomplished within the past week and a half that couldn't happen without having our 501c3. So some of those are, things like having Google Workspace for nonprofits. We're still working on our PayPal account, but having that set up, that's in the works. Just a ton of doors opened up for us, which we knew was going to happen. But there's some other things that opened up as well that are going to make this 2026 a big year for us. And we'll get into some of that stuff a little bit later too. But we have a lot of stuff going on in 2026. It's going to be a big growth year for Roll2Heal. Not only do we have some pretty substantial goals that we want to reach, and we're working on developing some chapter development programs, and we've been in talks with uh, was it community engagement coordinators from the VA, that want to help us get started, in the Oregon area. And we have another one we're going to be reaching out to here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we've had VA therapists reach out from Chicago, and also in Portland and Florida. So we've really had a lot of exposure there, which is awesome. And they're doing exactly what we're wanting. They're providing a therapeutic game, but they can only provide it for so long. and then their players have to figure out what else they're going to do from that point. So they're trying to establish Roll2Heal organization or Roll2Heal chapters within their area, so that way their players have some place to go where they can continue with the camaraderie, they can continue with the safety at the table, and building and developing themselves through the tabletop role playing games. So some really cool stuff there that's happening. Um, and uh, I won't steal your thunder when it comes to what we're doing with the podcast. You can speak about that here in a minute, but
Sure.
that kind of ties that together. So um, yeah, I mean the next big thing. So the first half of the year, although we wanted to work on growth and we wanted to work on chapter development and we wanted to do all these things, our main focus and our priority last year was all forming the business and getting a good foundation under us to make sure that we had everything in place that we needed to have in place. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're still learning every day, and we find something new and we learn like when to ask questions and when not to ask questions.
You learned that
And-
one the hard way.
yeah, an internal $250 joke. Um, but uh yeah, I mean it's there's there's a lot of cool, stuff that's going on that we're watching come together. But last year, the work that we put in and kind of ignoring the want to to push us to grow right then and there and like try to establish chapters everywhere and everything else was a good decision, because we've built a stable foundation underneath the organization, and we have good bylaws, and we have a good group of people that are working with us that really understand what we were working on last year. We have internal people within Roll2Heal that have become kind of internal managers as well, that are working with us, that will continue working with as we move forward. There's a lot of stuff that we still have to do there. So that being said, uh, one of the other big things that we've been working on for the past, I guess, 9 months is there's an organization called the Badana Group, and um, from the day that we started, we knew that we wanted to differentiate ourselves of having GMs and chapter leads that had some form of training. We didn't want to go as far as like therapeutic training, but we wanted training at the table so our GMs and chapter leads understand how to handle certain situations, how to recognize those situations, what to do when they happen, like all of that, and how to prevent those situations from even occurring in the first place. So, um, yeah, I would say 9 months is probably accurate. For about 9 months, we've been in discussions with the Badana Group on what we can do to make that happen. And originally, it started off with them telling us they had a 32-hour program. We're like, well, that seems a bit much for what we want to do. And then they said, well, we could cut that down to 16 hours, and that was still, kind of pushing the boundaries of the concern. There is you get enough education to start to become dangerous, instead of just observing and helping, you start doing more than what you should, I guess, at the table is the best way to put it, right? When you get beyond that specific amount of training that we're looking at. So this training is more geared around um, safety tools, session zeros. How do those work? How do you create a safe environment? What do you do when that safe environment is breached? All of those things, and having a safe enough environment that when something does happen, the tools that you have in place can actually work. They're not just there for you know to for fluff, if you will. Um, so with that said, the Badana Group has put together a 4-hour training program that allows us to go through and really touch on how to use the deck of player safety properly, how to use. I just had it written down here earlier. The script tool, which is pretty cool. It's similar to the X card, but it's more useful or more. Um, I guess useful isn't the right word. It's more. How would you present that, uh,
Intuitive.
Blix? Yeah, it's got like a pause and a rewind and a fast forward and a play and a stop and like all. So you're using these almost like you're playing through a script uh,
Like
to
a remote
state,
control.
oh, exactly, right, and you can say, "Hey, I missed that. Let's rewind a second, and, like, I wanna get that information again," or, "I'm uncomfortable in the situation, let's pause," and, and, like, work through that, or, "I don't wanna be in this situation right now, fast forward to the next scene," right? Like, so there's these tools that you can use that the GM can get notified by any of the players at any time to use that, um, and it tells the GM more than just holding up an X card. Right, without the GM having to stop the whole game to ask the questions of what's going on, right? So the script tool really gives like the information of let's press on, let's go to something next, or let's stop and discuss it, or let's rewind and like go back over that. So there's some really cool stuff that can happen with that. So and then of course we've talked about the deck of player safety, which again I don't want to steal any thunder there, but we have some cool stuff in the works with the deck of player safety. Um, we have been making some awesome connections over this year as well. Um, Connections that when we made them at the time, we didn't really understand how much of an impact they were going to have right later in the year. So, like when we got to where we are now. Um, so, those are awesome. We'll speak about those in a little bit. We are going to be starting to push for funding and grant raising now that we have our going after grants now that we have our 501c3. So it's something we'll be working on. We're going to start some funding campaigns. We're already on Benelovi, I think is what it's called, which is like an organizational where if people within an organization want to donate, the company will match it 3 times. Benevity, there it is. Um, and so Limey was the one that reached out and kind of gave us that information, which is awesome. So thank you for that. And we got all that set up and going. So that can be beneficial. We've got Google Ads for nonprofits set up now, where we can go in and set up our SEO and all of that, and actually have stuff set up to where when people run across their page, they can donate that way. Um, we have our Zephy account that we can start running some more campaigns on as well, and really start focusing on that. When I built the Benevity, one of the things that was cool about that was its structure asked questions that I didn't think about before when it came to campaigns. And so we've got a pretty interesting structure on how we want to run a campaign that allows us to get the funding that we need to build the chapters that we're trying to build, which is when you really step back and look at adding an additional 170 chapters, you're talking 200 grand roughly. So and so that it's obviously doable. There's plenty of charities out there that get way more than that. There's plenty of grants that give way more than 200 grand, but it's our next stepping stone that we want to work towards is starting that off, getting the money coming in to help build some of those chapters. Along with that, um, I'm going to be working with Blue Wolf and with a few of our other managers on developing this chapter development program, um, and we're going to really be pushing that hard over the next month. Um, so not even the next month, the rest of this month. We don't want first quarter to get away from us. So I'd like the chapter development program to be in place by end of first quarter. So that way we can go in the second quarter really like striving to build the chapters where they need to be. So and when I say that, that means end of March. So um, ensuring that we have something in place that's again similar to what we did with the organization, has a good foundation underneath it, and we know it works. And as we continue to push it, it just gets better. So um, those are all cool things that are in place. Um,
Real quick, Chris, just so we don't these
yeah,
questions don't get away from us. Uh,
sure.
Geek Dad is asking if we need board members.
Uh, yeah. So I mean, so everybody that comes into Roll2Heal, like the way we're structured as a nonprofit, um, we do work off of membership, and so specific things that we will pass in the future will require membership votes. Um, we're always looking for managers. That's one of the things we're really looking for right now is managers that can help us, and they would be part of that board, right? They would have probably a heavier weight when it comes to what things are being done, and because they're kind of on the internal workings of what's going on, and helping us structure the organization as a whole. So that's definitely something we need help with, and there's plenty to do. So we kind of originally set out by putting together some titles and things that we thought needed to be covered, but there's so much to do that you could pretty much step in and pick something and take off with it. There's a ton that we still need to accomplish. Um so yeah, definitely that I would say, to rephrase that, instead of board members, it would be more of like internal management is what we need, to help us build the organization. um
And if you have an interest in that, reach out and talk to us, and we can set up a time to like meet and go over how you can help us, what role you could fill, what your strengths are,
yep,
where we need help.
I guarantee you there'll be something that you can work on.
Right.
Guarantee it. So yeah, we'll definitely reach out, Geek Dad, and get something on the books so we can meet, maybe early next week or something.
Now,
Um,
Valerian, he asked this question and Geek Dad kind of answered it, but I do want to add on to it. So he says, I literally live right down the hill from Seattle VA Hospital. I keep forgetting to go up there to advertise. Is there anyone in a position that I would need to talk to about that? So as he said, the rec therapy team or the community engagement coordinator, either one of those is great. We had a great conversation with the community engagement and partnership coordinator for Portland, Oregon, and they've the VA in Portland, Oregon has actually kind of broadcast to their internal communications teams across the entire country about who we are and what we do, and that they should reach out and communicate with us. So if you go into the Seattle VA hospital, there's a good chance the moment you say our name, they're going to know who you are.
the other thing I'd add to that too is she asked if we wanted presence in Seattle, so she may know I assume she probably knows the community engagement coordinator up there as well. So it would probably be good to get in touch with her as well, and she's the one that's going to be forming our Portland, Oregon chapter. Um, so she already said she's all in. So which is awesome. And then to your point, um, to put even more weight on what Blick stated, that that communication that went out across the board was across therapists within the VA that are using D&D as a therapy tool in the VA right now, and they're broadcasting us across the board with the other VA members that are running those D&D sessions in other parts of the country. And that's how we got reached out to from the therapist that was in Chicago, was from Josh in Portland. So yeah, it's again, I was saying earlier, like some of the contacts that we've made along the way have been phenomenal in kind of helping us build where we want to be. So um,
Absolutely. And
Other
then,
questions?
yep. Geek Dad asked, "Do we have any connection with Dungeons and Dog Tags?"
Not at this moment. So we haven't really. There's a couple of things with why we haven't really built partnerships yet with other nonprofits. There's two things. One, we wanted to make sure that we had our foundation put together and our 501c3, like all the stuff that we needed to be a credible organization. Uh, Two, we want to make sure that we know, and I think we do, but we know what our purpose is, and we can't be swayed away from that, right? So, because there's plenty of other organizations that are doing plenty of other things, w- we want to be involved with those organizations, but we want to stay true to what we're doing as well, if that makes sense. So that's something that I want to make sure that we always always look at as we stay true to our purpose in the first place. And I'm not saying that working with those takes away from that. I think if anything, it'll strengthen it. I just want to make sure we're in a spot where um, we're comfortable with what we're doing and we know how we fit with those other organizations and how our partnership would work with those other organizations. Does that make sense?
Not so much a question, but just a statement. Paladin Frank has said that he plans to run a fundraiser through Extra Life for Roll2Heal.
Cool. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, no, and let us know whatever. When you guys are putting these together, if you have fundraisers or any of that that's going on, let us know what you guys need as far as support. If you need any official, paperwork, documentation, flyers, whatever that is that you want, put together, we're more than happy to get all that stuff going. There may be stuff we don't have generated yet that we can work on together, and get generated so we have more official content available for those kinds of things. But um, one of the other big things that I've always been uh, stringent about with an organization is I want to make sure that we stay consistent across the board with what we have and what we hand out. So I don't want um, I don't want materials being generated at one chapter and not another, right? Like everything should come from us internally, like as a group. Not saying that the members aren't involved, but the members are involved in helping us build those, but then that gets disseminated out to all the other groups so that we were all using the same thing. And that's what's helped build kind of that, back to what Blix was saying earlier. If you say our name, people know who we are because we leaned really heavy into, again, sticking with our core and making sure whatever we blast out there communication wise is always consistent. So
I think we're
um
all caught up, Chris.
cool. Okay. um I'm gonna save the best part for last. So you want to go through all the podcast stuff? I'm gonna keep everybody hanging on edge. We got some
Well, I
amazing
mean,
news to share. So,
if
but
they watch the stream, they're probably gonna know. But
they might, but
um,
we
the
have more
pod
details on it though.
we do. So the podcast has been going for a month now. We just finished our fourth week, and our first one shot. We had our get one of our members come on and guest play with us to showcase Bison. Her name's Sarah. She was fantastic to have on, and it was just generally a good time. Though we stayed up till really late and we were all suffering from exhaustion the next day, especially me and Chris. But it was a
Yeah.
good time nonetheless. But um, like like Chris has been talking about, we're our presence is growing and people are showing more interest, and we're getting a lot of people reaching out and talking about our what we're doing and the message and all this. and we've got our first actual guest within the profession for mental health recovery joining us this Saturday. So we're moving along fantastically, and um, we've also recently hit the mile marker for getting affiliate on Twitch. Doesn't mean a whole lot for us right now, unfortunately, because we're still waiting on PayPal. But when we get it all figured out with PayPal, then that means there'll be a donate button that will link directly to our PayPal account that people can, donate from Twitch onto that. And it's been a
Not
lot
to
of work for
not
sure.
to interrupt you, but to add to that too, like the PayPal thing is big because it allows us to work around their normal algorithm process. Being a nonprofit, they don't hold us to the algorithm of having to be affiliated to get within that algorithm, and that's across multiple different channels. So YouTube, Twitter, like not Twitter, Twitch, and like all those, right? Like so, Facebook as well relies on the PayPal side. So that'll allow us to be pushed to the top of the algorithm without having to be monetized to do so.
Yep. So yeah, I know some of you have you've come to the stream, and I appreciate that. But spread the word. Tell everyone, even if they can't watch the entire thing, if they jump on even a little bit, it just helps kind of boost those numbers and help with that algorithm to, get the message out there. We had a I think we had a pretty successful first month. Like it was a lot more um, knowledge, like eye opening for myself personally. Like reading through some of these these workups and these like group projects that they do with the studies and everything, and it's definitely been very interesting. And after it's funny because Chris has been saying it for since we've started working on this. Like, read the book Tribe, and it will make like your things are going to start clicking even more. And I did. I finally got to finishing it last week, and I was like, "Holy crap! Why did it take me so long to read this?" So yeah, you gotta. It's definitely worth reading. It's not a very thick book. It's like 200 and something pages. And if you reading it's not there for you, the audiobook is really good. Yeah, Maxi, the audiobook is great quality. It is. I've already listened to the audiobook twice. I had the actual book, I finished reading the book, and then I've listened to the audiobook twice already. It is eye-opening.
It's
And
it's one of those books that you when you read it, you always catch something that you missed because there's a lot in it. There's a lot of material in the book, and like you'll reread it, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't catch that," or like that means something different to me now. Like when you reread it, like the context of it seems different. So
yeah. So yeah, it's fantastic. Um, Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. At least when it comes to the podcast.
cool. Um, so as everybody knows, we've been working. Well, a lot of you know we've been working with a group called Nexus Gaming. They approached us when we went to FateCon. So really, all this kind of ties back to Jerry at FateCon and helping us get connected. And I remember her telling us like you need to meet Jason, and he's doing some cool stuff with his game shop. And she was really the one that pushed like making sure that he came by to our booth and all that stuff. So we definitely need to show some love to fate to five sided fates as well for that. But um, Jason came by our booth and said, I love what you guys are doing. I'd love to talk more. Um, and it took us a little while to get connected. We were kind of focused on our own stuff at the time, and but we eventually got connected, and we're able to sit down and discuss kind of how we align and the things that we think we could do together, partnership wise, and what he sees as a vision, and kind of what we see as a vision, and align those together. Um, so one, he's he's pretty much opened up his stores to be a hub for Roll2Heal chapters, and he has a vision for opening a new store every year. Um, and currently, his process of doing that is he looks at a few factors, one of those being a certain population size, and then having like a military base nearby, and a few other things like like an airport. There's a couple of things that he has in place of like what he considers a good location to open his game stores. But as he opens these, he wants to make sure that his game masters become roll to heal trained, and vice versa. He has a really good GM training program of how to immerse your players at the table. He spends a lot of money on having voice actors come in and teach his GMs and all that. So um, he has hired a pretty well known voice actor, and they're coming in. I think it was this last weekend, right, to do some training with his GMs. So all of that is open to us too if you're nearby one of his locations. But he also wants his GMs to take this 4 hour training we're getting too, because he wants them to also be aware of like what's happening at the table and be able to sit in and help run some of the roll to hill um, uh, chapters or games, like be a GM for roll to hill and actually run a table. So with that said, we had talked uh, probably in, what was it, October, when we talked to him the first time around, and he said, I think it would benefit you guys to go to some conventions. And we said, well, yeah, we'd love to go to conventions too, but currently, it's not in the cards with the finances and all that stuff we have going. And so we were kind of looking at smaller conventions in the area that we can make it to. And there's some good conventions we're still looking at going to that, are budget friendly and are nearby where we are, and also conventions that are nearby some of our other members. But that sparked a further conversation down the line of, um he stated one day, um, I've got connections at Gen Con. Would you guys be interested? And of course, right? Like, yeah, we'd love to do that if it's possible,
Yeah, who
like,
wouldn't?
and yeah. So, um, and so we started discussing it a little bit more and kind of getting more serious about it. And he has sponsored us now. There are 7 of us. I think there's 7 of us that he's sponsoring to go to Gen Con with him this year. Um, he's going to make sure that we get a panel. He's going to make sure that we have some tables to run so we can kind of highlight what we're doing. Although it helps him financially to have us run a table, because that's obviously he's putting money out, right, to make all this happen. He gets money for running the table, but at the same time, he said, when you're running the table, I want it to be a roll to heal table. So um, he made that clear, that he wants to make sure that we're doing what we're there to do, and not just to run the games. So we're going to be looking at this as a chance to actually use that 4 hour training that we have to actually put these safety tools into place, to actually have those like quick session zeros that work really well, and strengthen on that before we go. So when we go and we run these tables for people at Gen Con, it's flawless, right? And I think that's going to open up people's eyes to how much, one, how passionate we are about what we're doing, and two, how serious we are about what we bring to the table for our players, um, from an outside looking in perspective, right? Because these players are going to come to the table aren't, I'm there. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll have a roll to heal member by then or whatever that's going to be sitting at the table, or maybe they'll join before they sit at the table, whatever. But technically, they're going to be kind of looking from the outside in, of what we're doing. So it'll give them a different perspective. Um, and there's some really cool stuff he's got going on there. The equipment that he has is extremely good. I mean, he's got the neck holstered speakers that you put around your neck so you can hear everything, even in a busy con like that. All his tables are immersive. We're talking about doing 3D terrain and miniatures. He does 3D terrain and miniatures. He's bringing podcast equipment. I mean, cameras alone, he dumped 6 grand on for this podcast stuff. That's just the cameras. He's all in, right? And um, he hires voice actors. He's got a game that they're going to run for his groups. Um, that's going to be a Strangers Things game, and he's hiring the actor from Strangers Things to come and actually run the game. So there's some pretty cool stuff that he does for immersion. Um, so
And
uh,
he is he's opening that up for us to utilize too. Like he's
yep.
telling us all these tools he has at his disposal that he is going to allow us to utilize. So he's really big into supporting us and getting us going, and it's just awesome.
And it's funny. Um, and I know Flix, you had mentioned it the first time around too. Is like when we sat down and talked to him, he's very much so like I am, like a very big thinker. Like he thinks way ahead and thinks way outside the box of like even things that you would think would be impossible to do. He figures out how to make it happen. And so it was awesome, to sit down and kind of brainstorm with him on some of the stuff we had going. Um, that's another thing we could talk about today too is the rating system thing that we want to do because it'd be good to get feedback from people. So that's something I'll let you run with after I'm done here, Blix.
Sure.
So, anyways, with that said, we will be attending Gen Con this year for Roll2Heal. So we're gonna have some panels, we're gonna have some tables running. It sounds like we're gonna have five. If all five of the GMs run 3 games, then we don't have to pay for lodging. But he has corporate housing for us up there, so um, all that is set up. So we're in a good place, um, and yeah, it's amazing what he's doing for us. So, and of course, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he's looking at it from a business perspective too, because he can write all this off. So
Absolutely, he can.
yeah, so
And that's
but
fine
that's
because he's going to help us out with so much in the long run. Like the guy
yeah.
is very well connected within the space. So
But you can tell he's
utilizing his
passionate about what he
resource.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very passionate about what he does too, though, and that's the other thing that we have in common with him is we're very passionate too. All of us here are, right? Um, anyways, yeah, big news, right? Like,
Shirts for
who would have thought?
vests. Yes, we will have a booth.
Yep, who would have thought last year when I said I want to go nationwide that we'd be going to Gen Con in 2026? We thought that was 3 to 4 years out.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's all coming together. Um, so that's our big sponsorship thing. Do you want to talk about the rating system thing? I think that's a fun thing that we need to add into our Monday.com project management tool and kind of get like a team together starting work on that too, because I think that's a great idea.
Sure. So, brainstorming. There's been a topic, a conversation that's come up a lot within the last, I'd say, 2 3 weeks about what's a game that's okay to play, what's a game that's not okay to play, and it got me really like thinking about that type of conversation. And we me and Chris talked about it a little bit, and I bounced it off of him about potentially coming up with some sort of rank or rating system, not so much similar to like how movies are or the ESRB that games have, but just like a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10 scale that that covers like all the topics like violence, horror, fear, all those that are potential um, trigger concerns when you're running a game. So we were thinking about the idea of getting a group together, maybe trying to get a couple of people who are in the field of mental health involved as well, and put together like a panel of 5 maybe even 7 people, and have every person rank uh, each category per game, and then give it an average based off of what people rank. So the idea is utilize core the core material. This exclude any homebrew, any third party, anything like that. It's the material that is provided by the person who published the book, and create a rating system. So that way, if we review a game like we did for Bison, at the end of our review, we can say, this is the rating that our Roll2Heal panel has given Bison. And that could potentially help people make a decision on whether that's a game that they think would be okay to run or not. So that's the general idea.
And I think the long term idea is so to your point, there would be negative ratings, right? Of like not negative, but like ratings that say like this is horror, this has this much death in it, or has whatever. But you could also have the positive side of that too, right? Like this doesn't have these things. This is good for this. This is good for younger kids. This is good, like whatever that is, right? So we still have to establish what those specific, and that's why we want to get like a therapist or somebody that's in that field, and possibly again working with the Badana group because they have a lot of game developers in their pocket too, like getting somebody like that on board that understands how games work and how they're built, and knowing like what things to look for within a game on how to rate those. But the long term thing is people, even if they don't have a rating on their book, um, and again, this is like big picture, right? Is somebody opens up a book and looks at it and it says rated by Roll to Heal, at such and such locate, like, and so then they can go to our website, and in our website it tells this is what we've rated it at, right? And so then we become the source of truth for whether or not people find the games, comfortable to play, or if there's concerns that they have, or if there's, things that they need to look out for, or, just overall, if they know that they have specific triggers, they're going to know what's in that book already based off of what we rated it at. So that's the long-term goal of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Um,
But if you would like
Anything
to
else?
participate in that, like, you know, hit us up, let us know, what you think, and if you want to participate. Um,
100%. We do you want to go over like who's going to be attending podcast, or do you want to leave that for a later date, or
I think we
um
can leave that for a later date. It is still kind of early, so the people who have said that they can go may end up saying that something came up and they can't. So we just need to be cautious about announcing
okay.
too early on that. Um, Having said that,
We got
though, we are going to start a fundraising campaign to get everybody to go. Um, we've we've worked the numbers, so the goal is to try and raise $3,000 between now and July. Um, we got a little money we have to put down deposit, but we're just going to cover that cost up front, uh, and
mhm.
we'll get reimbursed at a later date.
Yeah, so that'll cover costs like um food and all that stuff, like things that we need while we're at the convention, things like that for Gen Con. So we're looking at a $3,000 pool that we're trying to get put together, just for cushion money while we're there, just in case something comes up, right? Like in
Hmm.
case we need something from someplace, or in case, something happens while we're there. I mean, we have to do something. But anyways, uh and then between now and then too, the other thing I plan on doing is looking to see who's going to be at that, because the other cool thing that we get access to is the Wednesday before Gen Con, we get to go in and meet with all the other game stores and book developers and all that stuff that's normally closed off to the public. So that's going to allow us to speak to some people that we normally wouldn't have like that quality time with. It's only like 100 to 150 people that are going to be in there, so um, that's going to be awesome. But um, yeah, good stuff coming.
We do have plans to have some things at Gen Con. We can't really call them merchandise because we are a nonprofit, so we can't sell products, so to speak. But the idea is we're going to have like thank you gifts. If someone donates a certain amount of money, there'll be a gift that goes with, you know, their contribution. So I know I saw somebody asking about shirts, and that's the legal jargon we have to use.
I think I think with the shirts and stuff like that too, like some of the swag stuff, if if we sell them online, we can control how much is sold. So we can sell a certain percentage of things before it becomes an issue. But having it online allows us to really control how much we sell in a month compared to how much we're getting in donations, so we can kind of keep track of that a little easier than if we were selling it like at the convention, right? Because if we showed up and everybody's like, "I gotta have that shirt," and then we sell like all the shirts we have, and we make way more in sales than we do in donations, then we're in a lot of trouble. So um, I think it's like 7% is what we're allowed to make.
Something
So
like that, yeah.
yeah, so we want to stay at like 5 to make sure that we're we're not even close to that threshold. But but anyways, uh yeah, so just some really cool stuff happening. I'm just super excited to see where we're at with it, and I know everybody here is passionate about it too and wants to see it succeed. But Roll2Heal is really, starting to get some traction. So
Valerian, you were thinking about shirts more for us. We we're we're in talks of making shirts for the people who are going to attend, and if people are going to show up to Gen Con and they're going to help us out, um, if I get a heads up sooner rather than like a week before Gen Con, and you give me your shirt size, I can make that happen.
if anybody has a hodgepodge of very unique Halloween costumes in their storage too. I do have a Warden of the Table outfit that we could try to eventually put together. But we also have to find our taco charm. So
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Geek Dad. That's one of the things I've been working on most of this week and late last week. So a challenge coin is in the work, and I plan to have various types of challenge coins. Um, but the first one that I want to focus on is a donation coin. So we have a supporter coin, and I'm I've kind of got a concept down on how that's going to look, but that'll be just a basic, thank you for donating challenge coin, and then there's going to be a champion of the cause, and this is going to be a special coin that this one's not going to be we sell this to people. This is going to be one we give as a token of gratitude for people who have done something for Roll2Heal. And then we've got a what was it, a herald of the cause coin that we're talking about putting, and it's going to be anyone who's like going out and telling people about who we are, or they do like a seminar or something, and it's like a Roll2Heal representative, things like that. So yeah, challenge coins are at pretty high on the list of things we would like to do. So once I have
yeah,
a
some of those
design.
some of those would be similar to like the challenge coins you get from like to give context. The ones we hand out that you can't buy would be the same, similar to like what you get from like a base commander or an admiral or a like somebody that has their own specific challenge coin for their group or something, right? So um, same idea there, where like it's not something you can purchase. You can only earn it. So
Yep.
cool. Um, we're still there, there's still a lot of debates on the way we're going to structure this stuff. Like Gen Con is, we're going to run like a specific game across all GMs, so we'll have more information on kind of that. I think DM Maxi and I have kind of landed on one that we both agree is a good fit. And I know Blix was kind of like, I'm staying out of that whole mess, so he's like, I'll run whatever you guys pick. So uh, yeah, and again, the other cool thing with our sponsor at Nexus Gaming is he even told us on our way out. He's like, "Oh, you want miniatures?" And we're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I have commercial printers here, so feel free." So we'll definitely be taking advantage of that too. But and making sure that we give him whatever we use, or whatever he opens up to us, we'll make sure that he gets some type of a receipt for it and all that stuff too. So
Absolutely.
we want to make sure that it's a mutual agreement, so mutual relationship.
Yeah, this
Cool.
Gen Con thing is huge, Limey.
Yeah, yeah, we yeah, it definitely was not. When we heard that we had the possibility of going to Gen Con, it just it's the best way to describe it is kind of that whole like pinch yourself to see if it's real. And then also wondering whether or not the person that's telling you is really going to go through with it, because we just honestly didn't know at that point. But yeah, it's it's a big development for sure. Cool. Um, one thing that if you guys want to brainstorm from a Roll2Heal membership side, um, one of the things that Jason at Nexus Gaming had brought up was for his tables. When he runs a table at Gen Con, they all leave the table with something memorable. Whether it's a miniature that he printed out for him, whether it's like whatever that is, he always creates something for them to take home. And it reminds them kind of like what happened. He said a lot of people will put it on their desk at work or whatever, and it kind of gets them pumped up for they can't wait to go again, and they want to participate again with his group, right? We want to develop something memorable like that too from Roll2Heal. Um, and we've been kind of throwing ideas back and forth and trying to brainstorm what that would be, but we're open for suggestions. So if you guys think of something, let us know for sure. But something that is, I guess, unique, uh, but obviously it can't be like solid 24 karat gold either. So
Right.
it's got to be like unique, and when I say affordable, it doesn't need to be cheap, but enough to mass produce for, you know, what? How many players would you say that is? If we're doing,
We got 5 DMs and we're supposed to run 3 games apiece. That's 15 games
that'd
of
be
6 or
15
5
players
players.
per. Yeah, well, that'd be 15 players per DM, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
If it's 3 games, and if you say five is the average, so 15 players per DM. So you're looking at uh, 35 unique items. So it's
75.
75. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 75 unique items that we'd have to come up with.
Yep.
So, um, which is fine. That's doable, and even if they're a little bit pricey, it's not a horrible thing. They just can't be like outrageous. Um, but we also want them to be very specific to like Gen Con and what we're doing and all that stuff too. Make it very memorable. So
Yep. 3D printed R2H logo.
yeah,
Um,
I mean that's definitely something we could do. And it's something I've already thought about. And I know we've have people that know how to do woodworking and all that stuff. We've like I kind of thought through that as well. But we'll I was also thinking along the lines of having it tie into the game system we're going to be running, and we've been looking at keys of the golden vault, so maybe like a dice box or something that looks like a golden vault with our logo on it or something. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could do. It's but we want it to be very memorable. So
yeah.
yeah, an R2H key, a golden vault key, that could be something cool. Um, but yeah, something again that they can put up, and when they walk by it or they see it, it reminds them of us and what they experienced at Gen Con. So
Any questions or comments
cool.
before we wrap up? That we haven't already addressed? Get the files. I can help with printing or even painting of miniatures. We'll keep that in mind, Valeria. We got a lot of going on between now and then. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people helping us out.
Yeah,
Yeah, shirts
winning
for
lotto
vets.
numbers,
I
that'd
know
be
a
awesome.
shirt guy. Yeah, that's funny. I know a shirt guy too. Yeah,
um,
Crystal winning lotto numbers. That'd
yeah,
be nice. Who wouldn't like that? Okay.
cool,
So if y'all didn't know, I do have the stream going right now, just to broadcast it another way to give people another way to access these meetings. So if you talk to anybody who's like, "Oh, I missed a meeting," and they're having a difficult time finding it on Discord after the fact, or for whatever reason the bot is being difficult with us and accidentally deletes the recording again, this is like a checks and balance to see that to make sure that nothing gets missed. So if that's the case, let people know that it's on Twitch. It's only on there temporarily, and then I think it's after 2 weeks it goes away. And but it will also be on our YouTube channel as well. So
cool. So we can have a
plenty of
dedicated section on
operation.
YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a playlist for
Yeah,
all of our meetings so that way they're all in there. But there'll be plenty of
cool.
ways for people to access it. And with that, somebody's actually subscribed with Prime on our Twitch just now. So thank you, D Fry, for that.
Cool. Um, one other thing I forgot to mention that I wanted to call out. Um, there's some awesome work that's going on with an internal team here with Legend and DM Maxi and Crystal on doing our GM workshop. That's an internal Roll2Heal membership thing, and it's been a big hit with the group in here. I know a lot of people like to make it there. A lot of good questions come up. Some really interesting topics to cover. Um, they're always open for people weighing in on what those topics are going to be as well. So again, that's something that we do internally for our Roll to Heal members. Um, and if anybody else has ideas like that, that we're constantly looking for those kinds of things too, right? That helps out the community in a whole, and offers, um, just some great material to go over, right? Like all of us, I don't care who you are, can become a better GM all the time. So, um, so good work to all three of you as well. Just wanted to kind of shout that out. I'm very proud of what you guys are doing. It's awesome.
Yeah, as Maxie has said, it's meant to be a mentor program. If you are concerned that you don't think that it's right for you, that's the whole point of this, is to help you develop and build confidence and learn how to not be not be like an amazing GM like Matt Mercer, but just find your own voice and find your own stride on how to play and run a game.
Until Matt Mercer becomes a Roll2Heal member and starts helping with our GM workshop.
Yeah, he would be able to dodge that if that happened. I was like, no, you have to step in and help. And he'll never join now
Uh,
because he's gonna find this video.
right. Expectations, my friend.
I think that's a good idea to bring Maxie on the stage to say something about it.
Sure. Get him up here. Crystal likes to talk in public too.
Yeah, get her
As
up
long,
here
as
too.
long as we provide, as long as we provide crayons afterwards, she's good.
Yeah, no, this is stuff that we're all working on in the background. It's Tommy, myself, Crystal. We're always looking for ideas, concepts that y'all are interested in knowing, different takes, things to do, things to look for. We kind of try to plan these out like a month ahead of time. And it's been I feel like we've been doing pretty good at it as far as like getting topics down and questions, but if anybody is like dying to cover something, let us know.
I'm here. Where's my crayons?
You got to say something first.
I just did. I don't know. Yeah.
But besides, I'm here.
Oh. Oh, that was something. Um. Anybody. I mean, if y'all guys need help with anything or want a topic to be talked on, shoot one of us a message. Hey, like, hey, here's an idea. If you haven't discussed it, we'll discuss it again if need be. So because it wouldn't hurt. You know.
Yeah.
And when you shoot that idea and you hear the voice come back, but you don't see somebody, just look down. She's there. I promise.
Yeah. Like.
Wow.
It'd be like those little kids in Okinawa when they're crossing the street, they have to raise their hands so you can see them over the hood of the car.
Yeah.
Where they got the bright
That'd be
yellow
me.
jacket, raincoats on.
Exactly, that'd be
Yeah.
me.
There you
Let's
go.
say Tommy's in here. Bring him up and see if he has anything to add too.
Tommy. Okay, now where's my crayons?
We'll
I'll
mail
ship
them
them
to
to you on
you.
a hot summer day.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'll give you something to do. Break the two together that are all melted.
Hey, Roll2Heal.
Hey, Tommy.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can.
And good evening, everybody. Chris, thank you for the kind words. Thank you for the support from Roll2Heal. It started off as just a, hey, we're gonna meet once a month and talk about GMing together, and we're gonna see if it can grow into anything. And then with y'all's support, it's we keep showing up, y'all keep supporting, and it really is. It's a living, breathing curriculum. It's nothing set in stone. Basically, whatever it needs to be to best serve you guys and the mission and the member base. So if that's the same topic 3 weeks in a row, that's what's helping our GMs in this season. Then that's what our Roll2Heal GM workshop will be. once this Nexus gaming connection gets rolling, and it needs to be formalized into a curriculum, and we can put out some content and some classes for you guys to take. We can be that too. Super excited to see where this goes. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, awesome stuff. Incredible team of people. So it's every time we say that we're excited to be involved with Roll2Heal is doing, then we like step up our game a little bit more each time. So which is awesome. So it's always something new happening, always good stuff, and always kind of pushing the envelope on what's next. So
Yeah, well, so Valerian says he's meeting Travis and Sam at ECC, and he's sending a personal letter to Matt via one of the two of them, and he can always slip in a mention of him teaching a class on DMing for us. You know,
you have to QR code that 15-second spot where we tell him he has to come on and yeah.
yeah, right. you know, yeah, no pressure, Max. I mean, at the end of the day, it's exposure, right? Even if he were to go on, his own broadcast on Critical Role, and if he were just to give us a 10-second shout out saying, "Hey, check these guys out," that's more than enough. In all honesty, like if he wants to be more involved and help us out, we're not going to say no. That's awesome that he wants to. We're gonna look at collaborating with him on that stuff for sure. You know, but even if people just say, "You guys need to check out Roll2Heal. They're doing amazing things. Look at this. Like, come interact with these people. They're fantastic." Like that's more than enough. In all honesty.
100%. Yeah. Good stuff.
I don't think you need to go
Yeah.
to that extreme, Geek Dad. Like keep your limbs. You don't need to lose them.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, if anybody has anything else to add in, think of something after the fact that we didn't touch on, or a question comes up afterwards, feel free to reach out. And we'll continue hosting these. We're trying to make sure that we keep this at least once a month, somewhere in the middle, normally 15th, 17th, something like that. So we'll continue to keep that on the. We should probably like sit down and buckle down like an actual day each month, like third Tuesday or something like that. We always seems to be on a Tuesday anyways. So figure out what that looks like. But yeah, we'll continue working on this. I think right now, just with how crazy everybody's schedule has been, it's been difficult to put a solid time, but we can figure it out.
Absolutely. One thing I didn't mention when I was talking about the podcast that I I made an announcement about it, but in case anyone didn't see it, there is a Roll2Heal Tabletop channel specifically, so you could, if you watch one of the previous streams or the recordings, and a question pops in your head, or you have a comment you'd like to make about something, if you reference whatever it is that you're commenting on and put it in that channel, we'll talk about it on a previous stream. The same thing with questions. If you have questions, you can bring them up in there, and we'll talk about them on the stream as well. And stories. If you have a story that talks about almost there, like, but if you have a story that you would like to talk about, that it could be, you know, uh, it could be a positive story or just a story in general that relates to Roll2Heal's mission or something like how tabletop role playing games have helped you or someone you can do that too. And there's the option to do it anonymously, so that way you don't have to stress about your name being out there. There's a command you can type in to do that. Testimonial. Thank you, Tommy.
To your point on that too, and is so Mage is constantly working on stuff in the background. Like we don't see everything he does, but he like makes sure that all this happens as far as technology goes. So, with that said, he's been working on restructuring our website to make it look a little better and just kind of working on some of that stuff. So, anyways, if you guys have a table that gets together, um, feel free to shoot us pictures of what you guys are doing, or pictures of your terrain, or commentaries on what you guys are doing or whatever, and we'll take that and put it into something that's going on the website or whatever, and I'll I'll give Mage some impossible tasks that he'll figure out how to make happen. So
Yeah. That brings up a good point about photos. If you want to take pictures and send them to us or to Crystal for like social media broadcasting, just first and foremost, make sure that everyone who you're taking a picture of is okay with it. So that way there's no concerns about upsetting anyone. But pictures are a great way to showcase that we're out there doing something, and that, like, our Mesquite chapter. I took a bunch of pictures for our Mesquite chapter and gave them to Crystal. So just lead by example, right? Maxie just went ahead and subscribed on the Twitch channel. Thank you, Max.
cool. I followed it and subscribed too, but I didn't get a thank you. Goodness.
When did you
Anyways,
subscribe?
the
I didn't
YouTube channel.
see.
I don't know
Oh,
if I did the Twitch or not.
no. This is the Twitch. That's what I see right now.
Cool.
Mage was still first.
All right. Well, we've been at this for what, a little over an hour. Yeah, I mean, just good stuff happening. What one of the things that Mage is working on with the website is to try to streamline it, make it look a little better instead of so dark. Um, and we really like what some of the other sites that we like a lot are Team Rubicon and Doctors Without Borders, and so we're kind of looking at how they structure themselves and um, just go from there. But we also want to make it ours, so we want to have some TTRPG aspects to it and stuff like that. Again, I always have to add that little bit of difficulty for Mage, right? So can't make it too easy. But anyways, cool. Anything else? Anything we
Last
missed?
chance. Comments, questions, concerns? Hope not. It's typing something.
People are typing.
That's okay, Trigger Man. Welcome. Glad to have you.
Yep. Feel free. Feel free to speak up and ask questions if you have any.
There's I don't want to say a particular match going on in the Twitch channel, but people are having a competition, it seems like. Corey's jumping in and he's subscribed now.
Nice.
Corin
I'll have
Horns
to go
over here
subscribe on
like
Twitch.
flexing some weird stuff about first ever 500. Oh, bits dropped. Gosh. You guys are ridiculous.
Triggerman for you too. Like, there's a really good 411 section on our Discord. So, um, if you haven't already gone there, check that out. It has a lot of good information on there. So, and then The wardens are always around too when we're not here, so they're they have the answers to everything. So no matter what you ask, they'll have an answer. I'm sure.
And if it's a question you can't
So
find an answer to, there's always
that's
someone
right.
available.
That's what happens when you stick a bunch of Marines in for wardens. But
that would be an interesting workshop to have for our DM workshop. Search for Vets says a workshop on how to handle players that don't do what you want them to do in the story. That could be a very interesting conversation.
I've had those. Yeah, it they've turned me into the monster that I am. So yeah.
Yeah, our
Go
last
ahead
session
and
we had
deviate.
my group did the same thing. I had an ambush plan and they completely circumvented the whole thing.
Yeah,
Guys are
deviate
ridiculous.
from the plans and see what happens next. Oh man.
Trigger man, that's the whole of DMing. Yeah, you're not wrong. Go this way. This way.
Right. Don't go that way. What do you mean the door
Also,
dropped behind us? We can't get out.
I take offense to the whole Marines and Wardens comment. I've got standards, thank you.
Some Marines as wardens. I was just saying when you stick Marines in a warden position.
Well, Marines, I had to be fair. I had to get the token army guys in there so they hush.
You
Gosh,
just don't want the
guys.
secondhand weapons anymore. You're
Only
trying to
gets
get
a
all the
little
new
brief.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
She's tired of getting the crayons that have already been used halfway.
Right? Yeah.
So Limey says he posted
Therefore, a
that
message definitely.
he posted that he completed a bunch of photojournalism assignments and would happily volunteer his skills. Tried to post a link about his outdated website. Yeah, I mean we can talk, later and go over it. I mean, right now we're shuttling Mage everywhere to take photos for us. So if we go, because you're in Seattle, right, Limey? So if we go to a convention up there, then Mage will probably be like, "Oh, good, I don't have to go."
Yeah. We drag him along with us.
Oh, that'd be
Whether he wants
awesome.
to go or
If you're
not.
going to be at Gen Con too, then we'll have two people taking photos everywhere. That'll be great. These guys are still going at it on Twitch.
It's awesome. All right. Anything else? I know we said that a couple of times.
I know, but people are talking, so giving them the chance.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, Corin. You guys.
There's
What's going on here?
a lot of ads on here. I'm not used to ads anymore because I have the YouTube without ads.
Oh, well, I mean, I think I have them turned off on Twitch, but I don't think you can ever really turn them off.
No, I don't think so.
Someone else join us? New as well. Just checking everything out. Welcome, Jack Dupe.
I'm following on here, and I've got notifications on, and I've subscribed.
Oh, okay. The only way to eliminate ads is to be a subscriber or get gifted a sub. Thank you, Corin. Yeah, I don't know how that stuff. I'm still new to it. I'm still learning, guys. So Corin's been a pretty big help on explaining everything to me, so it's helped a lot. Still got a long ways to go, though. Heck up. Oh my god. That's clever. All right.
Cool.
Last moment. Going once, going twice.
I'm tired.
I'm sure you are. You need to go to bed.
My day started not this 3 a.m., but yesterday's 3 a.m.
Okay. I think that's going to do it for us, guys. We appreciate you joining us this evening. And, if you have any questions or have something you'd like to ask, we're very receptive to what you have to say. So feel free to get in touch with us at any time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you all for attending, and said reach out with any questions.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.